We're going to explore the very interesting topic about the combined power of IPv6, the latest version of Internet Protocol, and the BSV blockchain, how you can transform really data transmission. To help me, I'm bringing to the stage Ahmad Yousif, who you've seen before. He's got a keen interest in this topic. And from nChain, Jad Wahab. They'll be coming up. But before, as they're coming up, we're going to play a video delivered to us by the chair of the Global IPv6 Forum, which is an organization of IPv6 professionals associated with the prestigious IEEE organization. He's been really thinking a lot about this, and he wanted me to deliver this message, and he hopes to be here in the future because he's worked many years ago with CITC here in Saudi Arabia. So we'll hear now from Latif Ladid.
Good to join you to this great event. My name is Latif Ladid, founder and president of the IPv6 Forum. I would like to thank Jimmy for inviting me to this great event. I wish to have been with you in person, but I guess you have to accept my little contribution over this video. I have been to Saudi Arabia many times in the last couple of decades, and I had the chance to work with CITC on the KSA IPv6 task force, to get some special work to be done, to deploy IPv6 in Saudi Arabia. And I'm going to show you some of the results, which are very exciting. Let me show you my presentation. So basically, talking about blockchain and BSV, it is quite clear from the experience we had with IPv6 in Saudi Arabia that IPv6 is very good for Saudi Arabia. So is Saudi Arabia also very good for IPv6. Now it's the time for BSV, which is also very good for Saudi Arabia, and at the same time, Saudi Arabia can become an example how to do that, and especially combining IPv6 and BSV as they are very good roommates. Now, one of the most important steps we have to do in the next 5 years, as it is the case now in the US and Europe, is to move to IPv6 only for a certain number of reasons, and primarily to get better network control of the internet, instead of having 2.5 internets running today, IPv4, NAT, and then IPv6, and then to introduce new functions such as segment routing for V6, but more importantly, to introduce end-to-end and peer-to-peer applications like BSV. And this will allow us also a far better control of CapEx and OpEx. And the deployment so far by end 2021, we have reached about 37% worldwide, but the numbers of Google are not including China, which is adding another almost 10%. So we are currently at 45% worldwide penetration, which is an excellent work that has been achieved in the last 10 years. So we have something like 2 billion people are using now IPv6 from, in this case, from the 5 billion worldwide. Now, the deployment on a worldwide basis is obviously very strong in China and in India. And they host basically the first and second slot in the world. So V6 is really going to happen in Asia by far, due to the fact they don't have enough IP for address space. And obviously in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia is one of the biggest promoters of IPv6, and they have extremely done a very good job, which has been also adopted by the United Arab Emirates. So you can see that Saudi Arabia has already almost 51% of the adoption in the country, with 16.5 million IPv6 users. And most probably they don't even know that, which is the beauty of the internet. You just have to use it. You should know what's happening behind it. And in terms of deployment worldwide, Saudi Arabia sits at the 6th place in the ranking worldwide. So congratulations for Saudi Arabia. have done such a good job in doing this. And this is due to a couple of top ISPs that have deployed IPv6, such as Al-Jawal and the Saudi Net, as well as the Mobili, which is a Tihad Etisalat company. Now, and both of them have the similar penetration in the country in terms of IPv4 and IPv6. So this is the impact on the deployment in the country. Now, in terms of content, it is a pity that we have a very good penetration in terms of ISPs, and a lot of users are using IPv6, but they cannot use the top 10 to 13 websites, apart basically from Amazon. And it's quite amazing. Amazon had deployed IPv6 more in Saudi Arabia than in the other countries. And you have Sala.sa and Zid.sa and alwatan.com.sa. So the other websites should be deploying IPv6 in order to contribute to this thing. So in terms of deployment of content on the web services, Saudi Arabia does not rank among the top 25. But interesting enough, the Palestinian territory ranks among the top 20, which is at number 17 on a worldwide basis, which is quite astonishing. And the topic that you are addressing today is about blockchain. So this is really an important application, one of the biggest peer-to-peer applications that we are going to use in the future using IPv6. So in a nutshell, if we look at flights with Saudi airline, whatever, so all of us are still in the luggage class using network address translation, except for those that are using IPv6, which are already in the business class as of today. And we know that because of the penetration of IPv6, the speed, and also the highly deployed IPv6 in the big networks like Facebook and Google and the likes that are enjoying the functionality of IPv6. And those that are already going to IPv6 only, when using 5G for SA, for instance, the standalone or cloud computing and Internet of Things, and soon BSV, you will be basically using the Internet on a third-class basis. So by 2025, we expect that some of the governments, especially the US government, as well as the German government, they'll be moving to IPv6 only. The top ISPs, especially in the 5G standalone, will be having IPv6, the top 100. In terms of what websites, the top 1,000 websites will be doing IPv6 versus the 250 that we have today. In the enterprise, we expect the top 1,000 enterprises around the world to be adopting IPv6 only. In terms of apps, obviously, blockchain, Web3, and all the conference applications will be benefiting from the end-to-end and the peer-to-peer facility that we are going to have. But obviously, we have a new digital divide between the 25% that will be using IPv6 only, the 50% that are going to be dual, so using IPv4 and IPv6, and then the remaining that are going to use only IPv4. So it will take a bit of time in order to get everyone on board. So my call to you from the honorary chairman of the IPv6 Forum, that's Yousif himself, and we are asking you to use IPv6 on everything that you do on the internet. So let me wish you an excellent conference, and thank you for listening to this talk. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Let's turn to Jad. We haven't heard from you today. So Jad works at nChain, including in research and some of the patent portfolio that is one of the largest in the world, one of the top 5 patent portfolios for blockchain in the world is generated by nChain to the likes of IBM and other companies. So IPv6 is a solution to provide more IP addresses for all these interconnected devices that we have since we ran out with IPv4, and also to send bigger data packets across the internet up to 4 gigabytes, for jumbo packets. What can you do with that in terms of power with blockchain, and what are some of the things nChain's been working on in this space?
Sure, thanks, Jimmy. Hi, everyone. My name is Jad Wahab, and I'm a tech lead at nChain. And we spend a lot of time building a lot of the infrastructure for the blockchain, and that fits in a lot with, a lot of the internet infrastructure, which is mentioned by the Internet Protocol, IP. And so as the previous presentation mentioned, the adoption of IPv6 is slow, and it's only around like 35% now, but there's a lot of use cases that can happen, as Jimmy mentioned, IPv6. So it allows for jumbo packets to send data across between routers across the network. And how that fits in with blockchain is that you can add a lot of security into the internet by adding a payments layer. And as we know, in security, it's a lot about risk and risk management. So you have to make the system a lot more expensive to attack than the attacker would get out of attacking the system. And with adding payments into the internet, we can mitigate a lot of the attacks and vulnerabilities that occur with the current internet.
Okay, Ahmed, you've been thinking about this in your head for a long time. Why is IPv6 deployment critical to blockchain growth and vice versa?
Well, yes, we've been discussing this behind the scene for a long time. But before we go into that, IPv6 is not an optional. It's going to be a necessity. It's coming whether we choose that or not. Most countries now, they already moved in this direction, and we have Belgium now, it's leading the world or by far, and then other countries is coming. But what is IPv6 is promising that it's for all new infrastructure technology, like blockchain, is most of the infrastructure is built in the last couple of years, few years. So it's going to be built on this technology. Why? Because it's you need the process of the security, as it mentioned, and also you're going into the metaverse. You need to send a large amount of data, and that's empowering for the blockchain from all aspects and all perspectives. That IPv6 will be the necessity technology, the necessity protocol that is going to be added into the metaverse, because we're gonna metaverse side, and also when we go to areas like the identity management and the blockchain, you need certain capability in the network for this layer. So it's here, and we are not gonna avoid it, and we're building infrastructure for blockchain. It's good to start with the latest and move on.
Okay. Dr. Basim, so as I mentioned, IPv6 delivers several advantages. One is just many more IP addresses, since we're going to live in a world with so many connected devices. Do you foresee a world where how do you link all these IP addresses to common identity, right? For a business or a person. Have you thought about that? Are you running into those issues as you're helping clients work through blockchain problems?
Yes, actually, we was thinking about this when we looked for identity of pilgrims who came to perform Hajj in Mecca. Mm-hmm. People are coming from all around the world, and they have different nationalities. And actually here in the kingdom, we are every time they come, they may have a new passport, a new identity. We need to link their ID with biometric, and they may change their name, they may change other things. For that, to be able to serve them, we need to have identity for them, that we can know their profile, what they need to build the service in the kingdom around the customer who will be the pilgrim in this case. And I think the IPv6 connected with blockchain and other technology, 5G and other technologies. This is the beauty of that. All those technologies, the new technology is has been designed to work together. And it's built with this vision that all those technology work together, and we can use the blockchain with IPv6 and to try to identify those people and give them what I am thinking to have international ID number for people, for Muslims around the world. And they can use it when they come to Saudi Arabia as a passport or as a digital ID. They can use it to access the kingdom, and at the same time, this will help us also to build the profiles of each visitor and give the required information for him.
One of the second advantages of IPv6, and you mentioned the idea of designing systems to work together. It's something that's core to the BSV protocol to work with the internet and IPv6 and later generations in the future, larger data packets. So IPv6 supports jumbo packets of up to about 4 approximately gigabytes of data, which is a large amount of data. As I mentioned earlier in our speech, the BSV blockchain network has grown to block sizes of 4 gigabytes, and there's been a 3.8 gigabyte block mine yesterday. But even more, in the scripting programming language of the BSV protocol, there's a single opcode in which data can get embedded. There's different opcodes in which you embed data. But one called op push data 4, which was put in there a long time ago, actually is designed to be able to embed in a single opcode in a single one of our BSV transactions up to 4.3 gigabytes of data. Why would you have that functionality in a blockchain protocol? Why is to be able to integrate with things like IPv6 protocol, or maybe I want to place on the blockchain a music file, a short video file. It lives on the blockchain as the master file, and people can access it through Spotify, a streaming service like Netflix, or whatever someone may create out here at a startup entrepreneur, to access the master file from the blockchain, be able to serve it through IPv6, which can handle that size of data capacity. Feature-length film is going to be a big size of data, and change how we access content that lives on a blockchain, and you could actually get rewarded in micropayments for it. That needs IPv6, and that's why the marriage of the two is a very powerful combination. What do you think of that kind of future, Dr. Basim?
Okay, I think this game changer, and having this amount of size block, I think will open a lot of opportunity to develop new things. And I think this is really will be the future. And I think in next 2 years we will see a lot of application and project will be built around this.
Yeah, that's why scaling matters. Jad, things nChain's working on that type of usage that you can talk about?
Yes, actually one thing I wanted to mention, which you mentioned briefly earlier, is the fact that with IPv6 you can have a lot more addresses, and with IPv4 we're limited to only not enough for the global population. And as a result of that, there's been a lot of like workarounds that have been done to accommodate for the vast amount of devices and computers that are on the network. And with IPv6, that allows things to be a lot more native and more secure. A lot of the work that we do with nChain is to allow for some micropayments and payments peer-to-peer with IoT devices and a lot of interconnected devices on the internet. And a lot of the work that we do could have been a lot easier if we had 100% IPv6 adoption in the world. But we have to come up with clever ways to work around that, because we still have IPv4 that we have to accommodate for. So definitely there are some short-term solutions that we have a lot of research and products in nChain, but we're looking forward into the future and expecting when IPv6 has enough adoption that things will become a lot more secure and a lot more peer-to-peer and decentralized, because a lot of the solutions that have been done with IPv4, we have to resort to some centralized solutions to accommodate for that. And in the short term, some security has suffered a bit, but with IPv6, a lot of that will get resolved very easily.
As I mentioned earlier in my opening remarks in my presentation, that we're moving into the Internet of Value, and I feel that there's a term is going to come and become popular very soon, the IOV, the Internet of Value, and that's going to take off and replacing the whole concept, because I personally believe that the current version of the Internet, based on most of the people here, the geeks that they worked with network, they know the OSI model and how the layers of the Internet was built. I think in missing the main layers there, the payments layer, it should be one of those 7 layers. It'd be the 8th layer, or replacing going from the physical to the data, between the network and the data should be a payment layer there to empower the Internet, and it should be native. The payment should be native, not to something that you need to add it. And using IPv6, it will allow this journey to complete in a very successful way without risking the security of the transaction of payments, because now we're talking about, okay, I want to transfer values, actual values as tokens. Then this is going to introduce another challenges and security risk that in some way it needed a bigger protocol that could handle this. So I think the IPv6 is the natural solution to this problem, and I think it's going to solve a lot of challenges that we have.
Well, that's a great way to end, and a good summary of the combined power of why the combination of IPv6 and something like the BSV blockchain can open up a lot. It's why, as I announced earlier today in my speech, that we have decided to partner with the IPv6 Forum, and we're proud that they're working with us to launch a worldwide set of educational initiatives and events to really delve into this topic with technical researchers and pave the way for a future which has a native payment layer in the internet. That's the thing the internet was missing, and why we had to live in this world for so long of payment processors and PayPal and other cumbersome ways to send payments. So we hope that will change in the future. So let's give a round of applause to our fantastic panel for what is a very fascinating topic. You don't hear a lot about it.